Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm For Classic, and today we have in here Rise of Ronin. Trying to run the game on the GTX 1650 Super. Well, trying is the best word to describe it, because I'm actually trying to play the game at 1080p and with the absolutely minimum settings. I'm not using very low preset in here. I'm using very low preset and even decrease it further some of the settings that the variable actually have. I'm also using FSR3 on its performance mode, which does look really bad. And the performance of this game for this GPU, it is not good. Actually, it doesn't surprise me at all, because if I'm going to check the requirements in here for Rise of Ronin, uh, I think it's pretty clear that this GPU shouldn't be running this game at the first place. So for example, if I go to my Steam page over here and check for Rise of Ronin, it says that you need the GTX 1060, which seems to be an inferior GPU with 6 gigabytes of VRAM, or an RX 5000 500 XT with 8 gigabytes of VRAM. I mean, this is for 1080p, 30 frames per second, under the lowest graphics settings and using upscaled. Frame generation can be used to increase FPSs. Well, yes and no. Frame generation only makes sense when you are actually playing at 60 frames per second. Playing at 30 frames per second with frame generation and while using upscaling, it just looks horrible. So it's hard to recommend. I know that a lot of people in the low-end systems are using this, but I honestly, I don't like it. I prefer to just not use it at all. So it's not that the game is not playable at all. I mean, I'm having it here 40 frames per second, 30 frames per second. I haven't reached the open world, but I've reached some areas with vegetations before this area. And let me tell you, the issue with the game is that there are some areas where the game just plays under 30 frames per second. And to make things worse, this is a game that, despite it is running on a 4 gigabytes of VRAM GPU, it isn't really supposed to be running on a 4 gigabyte of VRAM GPU because, well, I have a lot of frame time inconsistencies. I'm not talking about stuttering, I'm really talking about micro stuttering, frame times all over the place. Every time I do a 180 degrees turn, uh, the game just almost collapses. The frame rate just takes a dump. This looks really like a VRAM issue to me. And given the minimum requirements specify that you need a 6 gigabytes of VRAM as a minimum, it doesn't actually surprise me that the performance is really bad and inconsistent, because it really seems like a VRAM issue. I'm not saying that the game it is not. I'm not saying that the game it is well optimized or stuff like that. It's not. It's definitely. It's definitely not well optimized. But seriously, 4 gigabytes of VRAM for this game, it isn't really enough to provide a good experience. All right. So I think it's mostly all of that I want to talk about. Rise of the Ronin. It's an interesting game. I've been playing a little bit so far, and despite I haven't reached the open world, I actually enjoyed a lot the gameplay and the storytelling and the character. I'm using a female, but you can customize your own character with whatever sex that you want. I just randomized it and this girl appeared, and I thought to myself, why not? And as you can see, 24 frames per second, 29. So yeah, that's, and this is not really the open world area with a lot of vegetation. So I would say that for the 1650 Super, I would just say that for you to pass on this game until we have a better system. And I think it's about it, guys. So thank you all for watching so far, and I hope to keep enjoying the rest of the gameplay, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.